Hello and welcome to Candidate Forum 2025. My name is T. Adeyemo and I'm the curator of ladiescorner.ca. I do other things. Obviously, I wear different hats, but in this context, I'm about community, and the Candidate Forums is to provide public people, members of the public, constituents of Tastawiyinwak, the opportunity to know their candidates. You're watching on YouTube, LCC Media One. We encourage you to like and to subscribe. The rules tonight are straightforward. It's 2 minutes to chat, sorry, to do your introduction, and 1 minute when we start to get into the core details. I have invited everyone from this constituency, as is on the City of Edmonton's website, and I'm really grateful for the two candidates that have honored our invitation this afternoon. So, good afternoon, Fidel. Good afternoon. Do I say Dr. Farhan?
That's correct. Thank you.
Dr. Farhan, thank you very much. Who would like to start with their introduction?
You can go ahead, Dr. Farhan, if you want.
Thank you very much, Fidel. I appreciate that. And thank you for stepping up forward and being a part of our civic society here. Look, I just want to inform the viewers that I am an independent candidate. I am strongly opposed, in principle, to political parties taking form at the municipal level. And one of the reasons why, well, actually two of the main reasons why, is the influence of big business and party interests can supersede the interests of constituents. And so I stand firmly against that. That's the first thing I wanted to share with everybody. Of course, the platforms that you'll be coming across among many of the candidates are going to be very similar. I believe in safety, security, transparency. I believe in connectivity, economic growth, as all of the candidates in one way, shape, or form have put forward. But what I believe I bring is not just a wealth of experience academically as a professor of political science, as someone who has run a successful NGO for the last few years, and as a leadership consultant to various organizations throughout the world, actually, and I've also worked at the UN. I come with a wealth of experience, and I'm bringing it local to my hometown as an independent candidate. And my primary emphasis is to put people first, beyond the slogans, but heartfully and truthfully, to put people first before profit. And that's what I'd like to share with all the listeners and viewers today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Farhan. We're grateful for your introduction. Fidel.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on your forum. And thank you, Dr. Farhan, for joining today as well. I am running as a candidate in Ward Tastawiyinwak, but I'm running as a PACE candidate. I believe that as a candidate for a municipal political party, it is different than any other party. The municipal party is part of a group of concerned Edmontonians, or Edmontonians that believe in the same kind of values. The nice thing about running with a group like PACE is that I know for a fact all my other PACE candidates have been vetted through the system, have gone through a rigorous interview process, have done security checks and police checks, and are solid individuals who come with great values and very good background. Okay. I also consider I am running in this ward for a few reasons. Number one, I have lived in this ward for 52 years of my life. I brought up a family in this ward, in various neighborhoods, of course, but all in Ward Tastawiyinwak. And I also worked for the City of Edmonton for over 30 years. I've been in the transportation industry for 35 years. So why am I saying that? Because when somebody talks to me about improving transit safety, improving neighborhoods, and infrastructure around renewal of those neighborhoods and the transportation of our communities in and out, I kind of know what I'm talking about because I've been down that road and been in this field for over 35 years. I respectfully say that I think we need candidates in this ward that have spent all their life in this ward, know the ward inside and out, and know of the needs that this ward has and the potential that the ward has. I found in the last 2 administrations that we have lost the connective aspect between the candidate or the councillor and the residents of the ward. The residents of the ward that we have been seeing as we door knock are the lack of engagement by city council or by the city of Edmonton in some of their projects. So, that's what I believe I bring to the table. Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Thank you very much. Dr. Fahan, I know you're a professor of political science, and I just wondering why you think you're ready to take up this challenge, why you think you are better than incumbent Karen Principe.
So I don't like to talk in a way in which I'm viewing myself as better or worse. I want to avoid that kind of, let's say, a negative campaign. My campaign is about ideas. My campaign is about innovation. It's about ingenuity. And it's about honesty and accountability. Now, with all due respect to all the other candidates, I actually am genuinely interested in all the good work that they've all done. And what I stand opposed to, it's not opposed to the people, it's opposed to the ideas of, as I mentioned before, political parties and the influence that brings. And I'm speaking now as an academic. And I'm very well aware of what happens in politics. I'm very well aware, and people are not uninformed. People intrinsically know that the influence of other interests within the ward interests will relegate the residents of the constituency, of the ward rather, to a second or third tier. And that is a genuine threat. And overall, I believe there is a threat to democracy. And that threat to democracy is being done by disenfranchising people, by privatizing public services, and in a wide range of very deep philosophical, I would say, arguments that need to come to the forefront. And I believe with my education, with my background, and my will, I won't be influenced by outside forces. I will put the residents first. And so that's my platform. And I appreciate what the other candidates are doing, and I encourage them. Like I said, I want this to be a healthy civic debate and let the people ultimately choose what they think and who they think will be in their best interest.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I'm going to reword that question for Fidel here. So what do you bring to the table, Fidel, that maybe other candidates do not have? Or why should the voters perhaps select you?
The voters should elect me because I believe I bring a strong voice to city council, and I bring experience both in the neighborhood security part of it, both in the transportation part of it. I'm a very good listener, and I've worked in upper management with the city of Edmonton. I believe through my experience, through my dealings with upper management in the city of Edmonton and with city council, this administration and previous ones, political parties unfortunately have been involved in deep roots into city council. That's why we went to municipal parties. Now, municipal parties, unlike regular provincial or federal parties, do not influence the candidate, do not tell them these are the beliefs that we have and you must follow. That's completely misinformation. What we do is we follow what the citizens of the ward want. By door knocking, by meeting with the citizens, by talking to various groups, we find out that these are certain issues that happen, and these are certain issues that the citizens want dealt with. And I feel the last couple of administrations have not been doing that. We need a stronger and more clear-minded voice at the table when we're debating these issues in our particular wards.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
feel that's what's been lacking in the last two administrations, unfortunately.
Okay. So, Dr. Farhan, we're going to keep the conversation quite robust then. And when you go door knocking, what are the top 3 issues that you hear from your constituents, from the constituents, and what do you intend to tackle on day one?
I think, well, one of the biggest ones, and what I've been speaking of, and I'd have to respectfully disagree with Fidel on his characterization of municipal parties. And I'm sure that he might feel that way, but that's just not how they run. They are run by who pays the money, and they are run by the leadership of the party. And their interests will overcome the interests of the residents. Now, Fidel very much might challenge that, and rightfully so. But nonetheless, and I'm speaking as an academic here, that's what happens in political parties, whatever level of government they're at, municipal, provincial, or federal. Now, aside from that, that has been one of the biggest issues that I face at the doors. People have asked that constantly. And another issue that people have asked is about the safety. So, and I understand not just when it comes to transportation and the importance of safety, as both Fidel and I agree on, but I think both of us will also agree at this moment, there is a very abhorrent record of safety in transportation, at least amongst the people themselves and how they feel. There's a lack of feeling safe on public transportation. Now, my question is, how do you address that? Because it's there now. And so the people at the moment in the city, and I agree with what Fidel is saying, that the council has not done what it could do. What and how are they responsible for preventing or ignoring the transportation crises that we have? And that's, as I had mentioned, that's the second most common factor that comes up. And then another issue that always comes up too is a sense that city council is not working in the best interests of people as a general sentiment. As you know, voter turnout at municipal levels is amongst the lowest, right? In 2021, it was 37.6%. So that question comes forward is, how can we encourage people, inspire people to become involved? And so I think that's another thing that I do try to work at and try to, when I'm at the doors, trying to inspire them on being involved.
Thank you very much. Fidel, when you go door knocking, what do you hear the most? And what do you intend to tackle on day one?
It's pretty simple, I think. We're hitting people where it hurts the most, unfortunately, as a city council. Our property taxes, number one, by far, is the first thing people want to talk about, because it is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a problem that, respectfully, city council has created over 8 to 9 years. We had a certain amount of debt. It was 2.1 billion back in 2016. It's now at 4.3 billion dollars. We pay over 400 million dollars to service that debt a year. That's why our property taxes continue to go up and up. Now, I agree on certain points with neighborhood safety, absolutely. Transit safety and security, number 2 or 3 on that list. But the number 1 is property tax. How did we get to that? We got to that because of all the senseless spending, legacy projects, and projects that we cannot afford. For example, if you have a municipality that is $4.3 billion in debt, I don't think it is adequate to spend $200+ million on bike lanes, when I've been knocking doors on those bike lanes and people are like, we've never been told about them, we don't agree with them. But you read the council report, they asked 47 people if bike lanes are appropriate, not at $200 million. As far as transit security goes, a matter that I've dealt with before, we need to trim down 8 levels of security that we have now, take it down to 1 or 2 working security levels, empowering those people, because unless we make transit safety a priority. It doesn't have to be the number one priority, but a serious priority. Nobody will ever ride the train. Nobody will ever ride the buses. And nobody will ever feel safe in our communities when we have at every single corner people begging for change, or our homeless population growing, or lots of people just hanging around the transit centers and doing mischievous things, I guess. But I mean, that's one of the top issues for sure.
Okay, thank you. So let's do 1 minute, and let's try to stick to a minute, because I have a couple of things I'd like to go through here. Dr. Farhan, you did mention safety being a core issue, and I've got a question here on public safety. Concerns which have become rampant at transit stops or local parks. How is your ward addressing these issues, particularly with community-based alternatives to enforcement? Well, how do you intend to deal with community safety in transit stops in local parks?
Fantastic question. I do want to add that I absolutely agree with Fidel that the property tax is a very important issue, and it has come up. And absolutely, it's one of the top 3 for myself as well that has come up. And about the safety issue, I believe that we should work with the community leagues and encourage and hire trained professionals to be, not in a sense policing, but to be a part of the parks and the transits, almost like an angel force. And this has been tried in other cities as well. And I have a wide, very detailed proposal on this. But suffice to say that I believe it needs to be addressed in a very systematic and intelligent manner. Look at other cities that faced serious crime and safety issues, like New York City had a major crisis on their hands, and how they dealt with it. But nonetheless, I believe bringing that in and involving the various community leagues, and there's Lago Lindo, there is Evansfield, and there is the bodies that are in each one of these community leagues, reaching out to them for the parks, and then also working with the transportation department itself, working with specialists like Fidel who have that knowledge to listen, what can we do? So I'm about the solutions.
Okay.
I'm about working with people who have the knowledge, and then I bring the will to make it happen.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Farhan. Fidel, property taxes. We heard yesterday during one of the forums that seniors were forced to leave their homes because of rising property taxes. On day one, if you do get this job, how will you tackle this problem?
Our debt is a huge, huge concern. That's swallowing up a lot of our budget. How do we need to tackle it? Because it is we can tackle it. We need to restructure how we do our spending. We need to prioritize spending and prioritize projects. I'm sorry, if we cannot afford to have the LRT go all the way up to West Edmonton Mall, or even further up, straight up to Ellerslie Road, or in other neighborhoods, then we can put a hold on those projects till we come up with the money to do it by restructuring the spending that we have. We are sticking bike lanes in neighborhoods that cannot afford to have these bike lanes in there. We are building community areas, which are very important, but the way we're going about doing it in these communities is beyond the means of that community. Therefore, we raise their taxes 6 to 8% every year. I have heard a lot of people at the door tell me they cannot continue to afford this. And that's a big, big key. We don't want to drive people out of their homes.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. So, Dr. Farhan, in the last forum, we had Joanne Wright, and she said the city of Edmonton get their money in 3 ways: in fines, in property taxes, and I think grants from municipal government. How do you intend to solve this property taxes problem, as it's one of the core areas the city of Edmonton makes its money to provide services?
Yeah, there's a variety of ways, more than those 3 ways, how the city can make money, right? But even by renting out parks, and there's an income that's generated from that as well. There's a whole wide range of things too. But the bottom line that what we're thinking of is that there is irrational spending in city council We need to rationalize that spending. There are these vanity projects that are outrageous. A velodrome that's going to cost almost $100 million. Bike lanes that by a large segment of the constituents in that area was unwanted, and they were not approached, nor was the matter discussed with them. So this is how other interests have been involving themselves with the well-being of certain neighborhoods and communities, and have been very expensive. So I'm a no-nonsense type of person. I believe that we need to stop that. I believe there is enough wealth and income in the city. It just needs to be rationalized. And these vanity projects that are excessive and that are wasteful, and I also believe in freezing property taxes. I believe that the books needs to be balanced before any expenditure and any huge boons for developers across the city. We need to balance the books. And just to kind of put it very bluntly, in any job, if your responsibility was to ensure sustainability, and if you failed, then you should be fired. You should be fired because your fundamental responsibility is to ensure.
Who would you fire here? Is this
City Council?
Okay, all of them.
Well, not necessarily all of them, but those that have been responsible for passing these laws. And you can do your check. I'm not sweeping generalizations against everyone, but at the end of the day, this council has failed the city. It has brought us to where we are, and I think that's undeniable.
Okay, you do have a plan to balance the budget, do you?
Absolutely, and I'm telling you, I make a commitment that I will vote for freezing the property taxes until we balance this budget.
All right, Fidel, are you on for freezing property taxes too?
I don't mind freezing property taxes, but I think we need to hold City of Edmonton administration. We need to hold them accountable for the proposals that they bring up to City Council. The buck starts there. And the problem is it stops at City Council. Not everything they propose or every idea they come up with is a great idea. Let's go with it. They need to readjust, and with a mandate from City Council to City administration saying, hey, we do not want to increase our property taxes. We need these certain aspects, our highest budget, city police, our debt, our transit. We need that restructured. We need that workable. A property tax freeze is absolutely achievable, but we need to start at the core level. We can't just throw that out there because the city still has to function, but it starts at the administration level.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fan. I'm not quite sure if you know, but unemployment is at its highest here in Edmonton. Do you have ideas as a city councillor, if you do get this job, to begin to tackle the complexities around unemployment?
Absolutely. It is something that is affecting everybody in every ward in the entire city. And I believe that what should be done is both public-private partnerships that reach out and to include those unemployed in a lot of these new strategies that we want to kind of bring about, or giving loans for small businesses, give people the opportunity to start these small businesses in their communities. So I do have a plan that presently focuses on public-private partnerships to reach out and work with the city, even work with the province that is also a part of this, and federally, to build this unity to address this growing issue in Edmonton at the grassroots level.
Thank you, Fidel. Your thoughts on unemployment? How can we curb it?
Who employs people that are unemployed? Small business and even big business. But small business, the city needs to give them a proper tax break. The city also needs to help them restructure their organizations so they can hire people that are unemployed. It all starts with the small business. If the city of Edmonton makes it harder for small business to keep their costs low so they can employ more people, then it just makes it harder. And our business tax is some of the highest in the province, and if not some of the highest in the country. And that's where employment starts at, business.
All right, thank you. Dr. Farron, I was just wondering, in Tastawiyinwak, is homelessness a problem? Do you think what more could you do that this present council has not done to improve the situation of homeless people?
So the homeless issue, and this is a very important issue. The ward Tastawiyinwak is one of the more affluent wards throughout Edmonton, and in the ward itself, the issue of homelessness is of those who are homeless that are residing in certain areas of the ward, but particularly even outside the ward in the Griesbach area. That's where you do have many people who have already been there. But the issue of homelessness is, and some people forget this, it's a health issue, it's an addiction issue, it is an issue of the lack of getting effective support to those in that unfortunate predicament. So there's a wide range of issues dealing with homelessness that is often forgotten, that we need to bring back. We need to kind of include in any discussion on how to address the homeless crisis that is happening, that is almost doubled in the last 3-4 years. So the solutions that the city is providing is almost very, it's not, they focus on the absence of shelter, but really it's the outcome of, there's systemic gaps in addiction treatment and like I mentioned, social supports. So I believe every Edmontonian deserves dignity, security, and the opportunity to rebuild their lives. So I believe we should move forward, emphasizing permanent solutions, supportive housing models, and of course, especially reaching out to our Indigenous communities that are disproportionately affected in this regard. So also on this, I am actually formulating a complete strategy, but I also do believe that treating it as a public health and a community well-being issue, not a policing issue, is fundamental to addressing it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Fahan. Fidel, how would you tackle it differently, the critical problem of homelessness in the city?
Yes, I would. Respectfully, I say this: homelessness and affordable housing is bigger than a Tastawiyinwak issue. It is a city of Edmonton issue. But I do agree, it's not just a policing issue. Grabbing people and throwing them into our jails, that's not going to solve anything. This council and the previous council, I'm afraid to say, have failed in working with the province, because this is a provincial issue as well. Homelessness is a Canadian issue, federally, provincially, and municipally. We have to work together as governments to solve this solvable problem. It's very solvable. The city of Edmonton has to do their fair share in proving to the province that, yes, we are trying our best to tackle homelessness. Then the province will help them on their levels with the mental health issues, with the addiction issues, and it can be solved. Leaving the situation on the streets and on the corners and on the intersections for our Edmonton Police Service to deal with, or transit, as a matter of fact, or local businesses, that's not a solution. That's not getting anybody anywhere. We have to involve all levels of the government, because this is a Canadian issue affecting every Edmontonian, every Albertan, every Canadian. So,
all right, this is our final question. The ward is culturally diverse. How will you ensure newcomers, marginalized populations, and underrepresented groups are engaged in consultation and decision making? Dr. Fahan?
I think precisely by what you're doing yourself, T, as someone from a visible minority taking a very brave and active role in reaching out to two candidates that also are from a visible minority background that are participating. My father came here in the 60s, but nonetheless, we are all coming from different backgrounds and reaching out to one another, reaching out to our neighbors, and showing that Canada is diverse. Canada applauds that diversity, and that diversity is the strength of Canada. As long as we continue to lead with compassion and humility and with purpose, then I believe the solutions that we have in our city are very much achievable. Again, as long as we put that each other's community safety needs first, as leadership should put the people first, I believe we'll get there.
All right. Dr. Farhan, Fidel, I'm going to ask you the same question. Did you want me to read it to you again, or?
No, that's okay.
All right.
Engaging our community, that's the core of Canadian values and Albertan values, especially here in Edmonton. We have such of a diverse community, but you're not going to do that with flyers and with a billboard and radio ads. How you're going to do that is engaging the community at the grassroots levels, talking to those communities. There's nothing wrong with setting up a board that you can meet with and talk to with the Indigenous community, with the Lebanese community, with the Palestinian community, with the Filipino community, all of the communities across Edmonton, and engaging them at a roots level, because respectfully, every community has their own issues, their own leadership structure, their own agendas that should be recognized by the city of Edmonton. That's the only way you're going to engage them, is to talking to the people involved, getting to the grassroots, getting to the issues that each individual community has. That is the country that this country has been built on. This province sees strength in, is engaging our level of communities, and at a grassroots level, talking to them and seeing what are the issues. That's what I intend to do, with little meetings, quarterly meetings. It's very good to engage the community that way. I've heard that back from community leaders as well.
Okay, Dr. Fan, could you now present your closing remarks, maybe 30 seconds, so we can finish in exactly 3 minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, first of all, for having me on this candidate forum, and I appreciate all the candidates' participation. I think at the root of political life is a sense of civic duty that puts people before profit, that puts the collective well-being of society above and beyond individualistic, selfish interests. We need that type of political leadership that believes service is the goal, and that there's something very intrinsically beautiful in that. I represent that. I represent that authenticity. And with the knowledge that I've learned over the years, I bring that to the municipal level to help the ward get out of the difficult situation that the council, that the city is in. So thank you again for inviting me.
You're welcome, sir. Fidel, your closing remarks.
I've lived in this ward for 52 years, not because of the beaches that this ward provides, but because of the values this ward has. And you have to love it to live in it. And there is a lot of great family values in this ward. And I strongly believe that I have what it takes, the knowledge and experience, and the love and consideration for this ward to properly represent it. And you have to love the city of Edmonton to represent the city of Edmonton. And I hope to represent all citizens of all walks of life. That would be my honor and pleasure. And as well, T, thank you very much. And Dr. Farhan, thank you for being on this forum.
Thank you.
Thank you both gentlemen for showing up today. I'm really, really honored that you came. I just want you to know that I share the same email with all the candidates listed in the City of Edmonton website, and maybe people could not attend, and that is okay. My job today was to get more people to see you, to know you, even to meet you, to understand what your platform is. And I'm grateful again that you took the time. You're watching from LCC Media One. We ask that you like and subscribe. We have the Mayoral Forum tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Please join us then. At 7:30, we have Ward Our Nick. Thank you for watching. Thank you, gentlemen, again for attending.
Thank you very much.
Everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Fidel. Thank you, Ms. Burke.